Well, the Clark County Sheriff's Office has been out here off of Southeast Evergreen Highway working since 1 p.m. to investigate what they tell us was a murder-suicide attempt. Now, with the holidays just around the corner, this tragic incident marks the second murder-suicide attempt to be investigated by the team in just 2 days. Another tragedy in Southwest Washington tonight after the Clark County Sheriff's Office says 73-year-old Carol Rossi is now dead and her 78-year-old husband Roberto Rossi in critical condition following a suspected murder-suicide attempt in Washougal.
So they made entry into the house and then they found a female who was lying on the ground who had a apparent gunshot wound to the head and a male who was slumped over in a chair at the counter who had a apparent gunshot wound to the head as well.
I was just looking out the window. Noticed through the trees a lot of emergency lights, and honestly was a little worried about it myself because my wife was supposed to be coming home at about that time.
The shooting is the latest in a string of domestic violence incidents to rock Southwest Washington. It comes less than a week after CCSO says a domestic violence call involving a gun at the Alderbrook Apartments turned into a police pursuit where the alleged suspect reportedly turned the gun on himself. And just 1 day after the sheriff's office says a man shot his wife and baby before also turning the gun on himself in the Salmon Creek neighborhood of Vancouver. Miraculously, a day later, the wife and child are still alive and in critical condition. Given the recent spike, we asked Skidmore if he feels this is a trend.
I don't think anecdotally I have anything to say that there's been a rise, but this is just definitely weird with yesterday and today's events. Not something we see very often.
But despite the rare uptick, Skidmore says incidents like these are not only tragic for the people involved, but they also impact their families and the surrounding community.
I feel for that family for sure and empathize with having to have to deal with this as we come into Christmas time and times when families should be coming together and celebrating each other, and that's just got to be really tough for them.
Now, despite the deadly shootings' close proximity to the local elementary school and bus hub, the Clark County Sheriff's Office says there is no immediate threat to the public, but we will continue to follow this and bring you any updates as this develops. Reporting from Washougal, I'm Joelle Jones, KOIN 6 News.
Southeast Holgate Boulevard is reopened following an early morning crash, which police continue to investigate. Southeast Holgate closed between 108th and 112th this morning. According to officials, this white sedan is connected to an early morning burglary call around 3 a.m. on Southeast Powell, after which they eluded police and crashed into a police cruiser on Southeast 111th and Southeast Holgate. You can see in these pictures the police cruiser, which was damaged on the inside, airbags deployed and then deflated. 2 officers were sent to the hospital, treated, and then released. Again, Southeast Holgate is reopened in both directions after being closed for hours early this morning. In Southeast Portland, Emma Jerome, KOIN 6 News.
It's feeling like reality is setting in.
As Janie Gullickson greets people on tours at Portland's new Behavioral Health Resource Center downtown, you'd never know where she once was in life.
Well, I spent over 22 years in my active addiction, methamphetamine, alcohol, and other drugs, as well as chronically homeless.
Her decades of addiction were cyclical and isolating.
I ended up going through that cycle of incarceration, hospitalization, and eventually getting treatment, and seeing someone who said they had been where I had been. I looked at them and couldn't tell, and then they showed me their mugshot. They told their story, and hope was inspired.
Hope, she says, inspires change.
It was really important that we prioritized and centered those that lived experience.
A cornerstone of the Behavioral Health Resource Center is to rebuild trust, where it's been lost among those battling mental illness and addiction, bringing them inside a space designed to meet their greater needs.
I think it's also important to recognize that while the BHRC will support around 204 individuals at any given time once it's fully operational, this is a drop in the bucket, and we know that. And so I think it's important that the community understand that we need to keep trying, that we need to keep investing in innovative ideas.
The managers believe they'll be trailblazers in this line of work. With 14 years of recovery, Janie is bringing her lived experience to give back and support others at the Resource Center.
I just want to lift them up and do whatever it takes to see that they're successful.
Successful in being self-sufficient.
More than 22,000 students are back in the classroom today after teachers ratified a new 3-year contract just this morning. The school year was set to begin on August 30th, but was stalled after teachers could not reach a deal with the district on things they were asking for, such as adequate staffing, a cost of living adjustment, and more time to plan and consult. Christy Peak is the president of the Evergreen Education Association, and she says while not all of the teachers' needs are met, they are happy the school year can finally begin.
The work continues. It's every day, all day, but we got some support for them. We got some additional FTE, not as much as we wanted, of course, and needed, but some additional FTE, some time for collaboration, and we were able to mostly maintain our cost of living adjustment.
The 7 missed days of instruction will be tacked on to the end of the school year to meet the 180 days of instruction that's required by Washington State. In Vancouver, Emma Jerome, KOIN 6 News. We are here at East Holiday Park in the Hazelwood neighborhood. This is one of the sites that Portland Parks and Rec have paid special attention to in their effort to cover more of Portland in tree canopy, especially on the east side. So about 3 years ago, they planted 100 young trees here at East Holiday Park. Those were planted by urban forestry contractors. They are taken care of and watered every summer for the last 3 years, and now they'll be signed off as established. East of the Willamette River and especially east of I-205, Portland has much lower canopy cover. Alex Javier with Portland Parks and Rec says the reason for this is historic redlining, which the city hopes to rectify, improving equity.
For instance, if you think looking down as a bird over the sky, you'll see in some areas you might see half of the landscape is covered by tree canopy, so like the Southwest Hills or closer to Forest Park. And then over here in this neighborhood in particular, it's more like 19%, 20%.
And trees don't just look nice. Javier tells us greenery offers significant physical and mental health benefits to the community. Trees abate urban heat island effects and offer other qualities such as mental health improvement and slowing stormwater. The goal of the city is to have 1/3 covered by that tree canopy, both east and west of the river. To learn more about the urban forestry program with Portland Parks and Rec, go to KOIN.com. In the Hazelwood neighborhood, Emma Jerome, KOIN 6 News.